Hey,
Oh, hey.
happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Friday.
Friday. In the future, you're boating.
I'm on a boat.
You're on a boat.
I'm not actually here. I'm on a boat.
Are you having a
while
good
you're
time?
listening to this?
I bet you're having a good time.
I bet I'm having a great time.
Are you rocking out with your gown?
You know how I do.
Welcome to Disrespectfully
with Katie Maloney
and Dana Cathan.
Unapologetically,
We're here to do what we want to do.
spilling the tea.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
Disrespectfully.
how's your day going?
It's going.
It's going. We love a Friday.
Yeah, it's the weekend, which means
Television for me.
yeah.
Trying to, I had all these goals with dry January and things, and I didn't do any of them besides the dry part. But pottery, I did find a pottery studio, and I probably will follow up with them. But you have to give your info before you can't just do it on a credit card. They've called me 5 times, and I am scared, so I stopped.
You're also gonna have to cut your nails.
Raleigh said that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that, but yeah, they were blowing me up like someone that makes me avoidant, and I just couldn't answer the phone. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Please put a thing that I can just put a credit card on. I don't want to answer this call.
But it's they gotta
Suss you out.
Yeah.
Do you need a background check to fucking make a mug?
It's a very exclusive pottery place.
It's a very exclusive pottery, but the way that I'm so thirsty for it because I've just seen so many pottery videos, and I'm also, like most things in life, delusional because I think that I could make what these people are making, and there's just no way.
It brings me back to the days where I played with Fimo clay, and you'd make little things and you put it in the oven.
As a child or recently?
Little whatever you wanted. You can make a little snowman. You can make a candy cane, whatever it was.
What'd you call it? What kind of clay?
It was I think it was called Fimo clay.
Oh,
I don't know, but there was different clays that you could then you could bake them and they would harden and turn into a thing. I don't know.
did you used to eat Play-Doh?
No,
I did.
you did.
I was a Play-Doh eater. Also, I
was a Play-Doh eater.
in all of the
My
times
strange addiction.
we've talked all the times we talked about nostalgic things. That smell when you open a fresh Play-Doh is so good.
Would
And
you just take a bite out of that? Oh, when it was freshly and it's a little form.
Let's take it one step further. When I remember, I have such a good memory of my childhood, and then I started drinking. I remember in kindergarten, we had someone made it, the teachers made it homemade, and it was the saltiest salt. And it was always this green teal color. And I so distinctly remember just when no one was looking, taking little bites and eating it.
Well, because they would make it with flour and things that were technically edible.
Well,
I don't know if Play-Doh the brand is though. I don't think it's toxic because little kids, if that was the case, they'd be up. But the smell, there's this one brand of perfume called it starts with a D, Ditometer or whatever. I'll figure out what it is. But they will make other scents out of things that were nostalgic, like Cinnabons or something like that. I had it for a long time. I don't know what I did with it, but a Play-Doh smell. If I still have it, I'm gonna bring it.
Well, it's Lip Smackers always had the best. We all had such again, so nostalgic and good smelling, but I feel I would lick that too. But remember Jessica Simpson had
Her dessert.
a bazooty
A
line?
body care line that was called dessert.
You could eat it.
Yeah.
It was edible. And I remember on the Nick and Jessica or whatever the newlyweds, I remember she did a shoot for that and she was eating it and she went to the hospital. So I don't know if you're actually supposed to be eating it, but
I think it's just non-toxic, so it's lickable. I don't think you're supposed to eat it.
Yeah, for sure. One time, I think Lenny was 1.5 or 2, and her nanny, she walking around the house and she was gone for 2 seconds. And the nanny's like, where is she? She goes in the bathroom and she opens the door and Lenny is sitting on the ground with an open pot of Laneige. And she literally had stuck her whole hand and was eating it. And she looked up and was like, And so they took it away. They had to call poison control and she ended up obviously being fine. So FYI, just, keep that out of the reach of kids.
Yeah, just because it's, you put it on your lips doesn't mean it's not I don't know, should be ingested. But I don't know. Yeah, Lip Smackers, Bonnabelle, they had those coffee flavored, there was a latte and a cappuccino one and it was kind of brown tint.
I remember I loved the strawberry one. But yeah, you would remember they had some of the lids had the little holes on them so you could keep them on a thing. And it's just you were flexing based on how many you had.
Hook that shit on your backpack.
Mhm.
Everybody watch out.
Your JanSport.
Oh yeah. Loved it. Anyway.
Wow, this is really a week of nostalgia.
I know, but I think that's indicative of the climate that we're in and just needing an escape.
Wanting to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get to some hometown heroes?
Yeah, let's read some stories from other people's nostalgic past.
Great.
I like that idea. Steph says, hello, Coven. Day one listener and VPR stan. I love taking y'all on my hot girl walks. Someone's got to do the walking.
Yeah. Not me.
Well, I love it, but like, anyways. I was living in northern Iowa in 2010 as a recent college graduate. With my group of friends, it was never, what are we doing tonight? But where are we drinking tonight? Living in a town of 400 people, it wasn't uncommon for us to load up and booze cruise to a larger, about 5,000 people town about 30 minutes away. Listen, I get it because same. Oh, we hit the dive bar and I noticed a cute guy in a white backwards hat who was 6 years older than me in school. Let's call him Brian. Brian comes up to me and asks if my sister is who he went to school with, who is also 4 years older than me. We begin talking and hit it off. After exchanging numbers, the group I was with decided to take off and head to another town. Brian and I continue to text throughout the night, and he asks if he can come back to my apartment when I'm headed back home. Brian shows up, and we get right down to business. As things get going, he begins to say things into my ear like, your sister really had a thing for me in high school. And my favorite, your sister would be so jealous right now. Is this the guy that's like, I could have gone pro?
This is the guy that could have gone pro in Euphoria when Kat has sex with that guy behind the Ferris wheel that's like a Ferris wheel operator who was like really that guy in high school. And he's just like such a loser. And he's like, did you come? And she's like, no, and walks away.
Do you remember the movie Just Friends?
I've never seen it.
With, Ryan Reynolds was like such a dork in high school, like retainer and all that, like just like overweight, like poor kid, like just that kid. And he then moves to LA and like loses a ton of weight and like works in like the music industry, like hot shot. And he ends up going back to his like little town in Jersey. And of course runs into people from high school at the bar. And the one like jock guy from high school is wearing his like Letterman jacket. He's like balding. He's wasted. And he's like, at one point he goes, can I have $5? Like that vibe.
Oh God.
This is that guy. He then took off his hat to show a balding comb over. I told him to put his hat back on along with all the rest of his clothes. The mood was dead and I was over it. He politely left, and when I saw him out a few months later, we acted like we didn't know each other. Works for me. Hope you get a laugh out of this.
Well, we got a laugh, and we also got flooded with memories. I like it's so true, the trope of the hot person in high school. It's always the ones that were mean that then later don't really go on to do anything with their life. I remember the guy who was my first kiss in high school, and I was a late bloomer. I was 15, and I was like, it was so dreamy to me. And then he immediately was like, ew, I don't like, he was so mean to me. And I was like, yeah, you're an actual loser. Like, was so the person when you'd come home from college and we go to like the dive bar that he was like there reliving the glory days.
Oh
like,
yeah. They're lifers in that hometown.
They're lifers.
But like, what's his thing with your sister? Like, he's just...
Please don't bring up my sister while we're like...
He's got a sister kink?
Getting frisky. Yeah, that is so gross.
No kidding.
Okay, well, Marla says, I migrated to Disrespectfully after listening to Katie's previous podcast, and I am loving it.
Oh.
Thankfully, you've expanded to 2 episodes a week, so you can accept longer stories. I wanted to share this after listening to the Girthmaster episode last year, but worried I couldn't get it short enough. Pun intended. Well, Girthmaster always says, I'm girth, not length.
Ooh.
I mean, he's both, but when people like
sir?
come from...
Okay.
Yeah, looks like, statue. This one is truly for the Coven. Hopefully it works. A couple years ago, my bestie went from married mom to divorced. Simultaneously, I suddenly put down my hoe ways of queer marriage. Bestie and I adventured around the world together since we were 19. We live in different states, visit often, and share everything, but we never had a crossover like this one. She often showed me the many dick pics she received. Ugh, I love a dick pic. And one stood out not only because it was an impressive piece, but because we had a knack for good composition. Turns out that matters. She often said that he was so good.
What is a good composition? Like the photo itself was great?
I'm guessing she means being able to tell if it's actually big or not. Because when they don't put it into context, like when there's just a floating and you can't tell and you need them to like put a water bottle by it or something. So you, or like be
yeah,
able
they
to,
know their angles, which is fair because so do we.
Like there's a guy on TikTok who when men say what their height is, he goes in and finds things like a desk behind them and finds the make of it and the whatever
I love
and so
those.
we can tell exactly how it is. She often said he was so good she wanted to share him with her friends. He indicated he wanted her to share him too, which again is a nice thing about the Girthmaster. He's all about that. One February, I was visiting her and wanted to pick up some toys to bring home to my spouse when I came across a Clone-A-Willy, like the kit the Girthmaster had mentioned. I told my bestie she could use it with her artistic dick pic fuck buddy. I'll call him Luca. Luca was down to clone, but only available the day I was leaving, which was Valentine's Day. Bestie's home is large and has a basement apartment. In the back is a room that we've used for throwing tarot cards, intention setting, and generally witchy behavior. It has no windows, and we painted the walls red, created murals of various goddesses, and have a lot of candles. When Luca arrived, Bestie's brother-in-law was borrowing her kitchen to make Valentine's Day chocolates for his wife. So wholesome. We had to walk past him on our way to the basement. Pretty awkward. We wanted the most private room in the house, our witching room, for this little cloning ritual. At the time, her basement apartment was occupied by some short-term renters, a young family with an infant visiting from Asia. So we went back to coordinate with them to walk through the apartment to get to the witching room in the way back. It stays locked when she has renters like this. The three of us skulk past them with our paper bag full of supplies. I'll give Clone-A-Willy 5 stars. Makes a great dildo. Maybe it was the kink of the kid or maybe it was the candlelight, but Luca was so sexy I couldn't help but give him a blowy right then and there. Once a hoe, always a hoe. After a bit, Bessie stopped me knowing my spouse would have some kind of boundary. One hell of a walk of shame through the old apartment past the brother-in-law. Just as Luca was leaving, Bessie's son walked up from the bus stop. When I got home that night, my spouse loved the story and the toys. Bestie and fuck buddy later used their clone for some double Luca action. Hell yeah, sister. A few months later, my spouse and I got to hook up with Luca on our own. He's a true gift to the Coven. Disrespectfully, High Priestess of Hotness. P.S. Katie, I'm so proud of you for leveling up as you have, and you're looking hotter than ever, babe.
Oh my God, thank you. Wow, that is, so he must have like a really great penis.
No, it's like New York, New York. You love it so much. The city's so nice, they named it twice. They duplicated him and used it for multiple orifices. I love that.
Yeah, and then her and her spouse got in on it.
I mean, one of my dreams in life is an MMF and hasn't happened. Don't know if it will, but that means male, male, female threesome because I love when a guy's like, let's have a threesome. And I'm like, great, call a friend. Who's your favorite bro? They always think that we're assuming it's going to be a girl. I'm like, maybe I want it to be 2 guys.
Yeah.
Love Luca. Good for him and his gift.
That's amazing.
Glad he's sharing the gift with the world.
Clone-A-Willy.
I've been having a really rough time sleeping lately.
No way.
As you know.
No way.
I kept trying to figure out better ways to fix it. I even kicked Laszlo out of the bed, which is so unlike me. Like nothing was working until Bowl and Branch. I literally last night switched it up and I slept 12 hours.
You just knocked yourself out?
Uh-huh.
If you really want to change the way you sleep, you need to upgrade to Bowl and Branch's 100% organic cotton sheets. You'll fall asleep faster with a luxurious softness that puts you in instant relaxation mode.
It's very, You'll spend every night in buttery, breathable comfort and feel your sheets get softer every wash. Discover the difference with Bowl and Branch's 30-night guarantee. It's no risk. And you and I, we try to mitigate risk at all costs.
Oh, yeah. I'm risk adverse, but my bed is the most important place. Not just because we sleep the most and yada yada science, blah, 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 but like truly because it is my favorite place. And so I put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of research into finding the best sheets.
You're a bed scientist for sure.
I am.
I'm going to give you a PhD in comfortable bedding. And
that's why I'm so thankful for Bowl and Branch because they just make it easy for me.
And it's like a fun surprise every time you wash it and it just gets cozier and cozier and cozier.
Oh, I love fresh sheets. You gotta have 2 sets so that way when it's time for a change, you just can easily swap them.
Switch it out. Who wouldn't want to sleep in the best sheets ever? Is that important? Like
who
people
would want to sleep in a cloud? Bowl and Branch products are made different so you can sleep better at night. They are woven with the finest 100% cotton on earth.
They're also crafted by artisans who earn the pay and respect they deserve, which again, it's a pillar for us.
Let's also not forget the signature hemmed sheet sets. They have designs and colors for every bedroom style and mattress size.
These all-season sheets have a breathable, unmatched softness to start, and they get softer with every single wash. They're the perfect foundation for Bowl and Branch's airy bed blankets, cloud-like duvets, and so much more.
And do not worry, they have a 30-night worry-free guarantee, so you can try Bowl and Branch sheets for an entire month, and if you don't like them, you can send them back for a full refund.
If you listen to this podcast, you know I love to worry, so just one less thing I can tick off the box.
Exactly.
Now's your chance to change the way you sleep with Bowl and Branch. Get 15% off plus free shipping on your first set of sheets at bowlandbranch.com/disrespectfully.
That's Bowl and Branch, BOLLAND, branch.com/disrespectfully to save 15%. Exclusions apply. See site for details.
If you're a renter like me, I'd start taking advantage of Built if I were you. Here's the thing. We earn points on groceries, on travel, which we know I love to travel around, practically everything else you buy. So why shouldn't we be earning points on rent, which is definitely my biggest expense of the month?
Oh yeah, I'm a renter. I'm so on board with this. Built changed the game by letting renters earn high value points on rent and around their neighborhood.
There's no cost to join Built, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and everyday spending.
Built points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and 700,000 hotels and properties around the world you can redeem your Built points toward.
Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only Built members can access.
So if you're not earning points on rent, my question is, why not?
Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbuilt.com/disrespectfully.
That's joinbilt.com/disrespectfully.
Make sure to use our URL so that they know we sent you. Joinbuilt.com/disrespectfully to start earning points on your rent payments today.
Michelle says, hey besties. Michelle, 33-year-old female. Can I talk about a gross thing I did for love?
Of course you
Always.
can.
Oh my God, wait, this is going to flash back to last episode. I went to a festival rave kind of thing with my girlfriend. In the midst of drinking and being there, we had to go to the bathroom and we both went in together and my girlfriend dropped her phone in the porta potty and started screaming and crying. She opened the door and was telling people what happened. I grabbed as much toilet paper as I could, wrapped it around my hand and grabbed the phone. Luckily, it didn't sink. Luckily still worked. And then she said she was going to marry me. In conclusion, we aren't still together and don't do anything for love. Okay, love you, bye.
I'm sorry. I don't care if it's a brand new iPhone. If my phone,
Bye.
even a corner of it, I don't care if it still works. It literally makes me gag. Never. Let the porta potty can take it.
Yeah, it belongs to the porta potty now. Like imagine holding that phone to your face. Imagine touching that phone and
There isn't a Lysol wipe stringent enough in the world to do that.
even those like weird little like slots that you stick it in and then like sanitizes it. No.
Well, also, it's a music festival. So like, I'm guessing even if it's at the end of the night, like you're there for some amount of time. So what you do, just wipe it off and put it in your bag. Okay.
Take
I hate that.
videos of the rest of the show.
Hate that. Anonymous says, naked and afraid. What up, ladies? I love you. I'm not the hero in this story, but a couple of all-nighter party animal strangers are. Let's do it. Freshman year of college, after going to an underage bar downtown, I went home with the hottest lacrosse player in my grade. Oh my God, he was so fine. I had my eye on him for some time, so this was very exciting for me. Fast forward to once the deed was done, it was painful. He was the size of a jumbo summer sausage, and he tried to pinch off my nipples. Ugh, hate. To the point that they scabbed all around and nearly popped off. I could barely wear shirts for days. It's like Andel. It's like Andy and his nipple chafing in the office.
Oh my God.
We were sleeping in his tiny twin-size bed and I needed to go pee. I got up, wrapped myself in a towel I found on the floor and put his large moccasin slippers on. As I leave the dorm room, I forget about the deadbolt for his dorm and I hear it lock behind me. It was 3 a.m. and I was now locked out in the hallway of this man's dorm. My phone, keys, purse, everything were locked in there with him. I decided I'd freak out after I emptied my bladder. Once I peed, I tried knocking, but he was knocked out cold in a drunk slumber. I pounded so loud on the door, his RA woke up and peered into the hall. I asked the RA if he had a master key to unlock his door. He said, yeah, but it's in the dorm building across the street. Then the RA closed the door and went back to bed. I was stranded, alone, naked, and afraid.
Oh my God.
Luckily for me, some guys and girls, thank good girls, were awake and still partying. They invited me into their dorm, clothed me, and made friends with them. We all bonded over this terrifying experience. They even took me to McDonald's once it opened the next morning. The next morning, once the dude finally woke up, he invited me into his room to gather my things. He thought the whole thing was absolutely hilarious. He proceeded to call his closest buddies to tell them I had been locked out naked. Embarrassing. One of which being my new coworker, he still gives me shit about 3 years later. A couple days go by and I showed up to work and had been told I was going to be training a new hire. It was one of the girls from the dorm party. She was so sweet. I loved her. Thank you for saving me, Queen. Thanks for reading. Sorry if it's long, but I love this story and thought I'd share. Love you, disrespectfully. Okay. Also, there's nothing worse than some guy who's like a jock or a bro who's not even good in bed. And like this guy just had a big dick. And obviously on too big of a dick is too much.
No,
It's
I don't
it
know
is painful.
who created this rumor that you have to have a massive penis in order for it to be even decent. Because if you don't know what you're doing with that, goodbye.
No, it can be very unpleasant. But also this man like laughing about that's not funny. Thank God you ran into these people.
Also, I'm hoping that everyone learns from these stories and learn in general. Never go to the bathroom in the middle of the night somewhere you don't live without being fully clothed, even with your shoes on, and bringing everything with you.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it. Can't take that risk.
I mean, of course, since it was a dorm, she'd have to go out in a towel, but just a towel. Ugh, horrible. Glad you made it.
Yeah. All right. Well, next one. Brittany says, first off, both of you are on my daddy list until end of time.
Love.
Okay. I like that. This story is a little on the long side, but totally worth it. One night, my friend and I decided to finish off a bottle of vodka that was left over from a previous party. For some reason, the neighbors thought we were having a party and called the cops on us. Rude. Where we were breathalyzed and given drinking tickets for being underage.
When you're just having a kiki and not even a party, that's so
like
lame.
Your neighbors are your ops, and I hope that you like toilet paper their house.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's handle this like adults. Two-ply.
Well, yeah. Fast forward 4 years later, I'm now above the legal drinking age and just moved back from living a couple hours away. I'm on my way to work and get pulled over for my brake lights being out. Surprise, I had a bench warrant for never completing my community service from said drinking ticket. So instead of going to work, I was on my way to jail. I immediately started crying because I'm just a girl.
Oh,
I
I would cry too.
The cop tried making me feel better by saying his name was Bruce Wayne. So at least I got arrested by Batman. First of all,
That doesn't
shut
help.
the fuck
Shut
up.
your fucking mouth. That doesn't help me at all.
At the time of my arrest, I had just gotten my belly button pierced and couldn't get it out, so I was put in a cell alone where they forgot to give me my phone call to let anyone know I was there. Everything worked out in the end, and it was all dismissed. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you both for being the most bad bitches, Brittany. First, I'm confused. If you get something like that when you're underage and you didn't get arrested in the first place, why would you still have a bench warrant and then actually go to, like, does that seem a little backwards?
Well, she was probably over 18, but underage for drinking. But either way, I feel like it would still, because I feel like it would still roll over. It doesn't mean you like turn in age and then it's over.
No, I know, but like I think the punishment still needs to be appropriate for the crime. You know, like if you
no, totally. But also, I've never had a warrant, at least that I know of. They don't send you an email, a little Google reminder?
No,
like,
that's why it's fucked up.
Yeah, like, well, so I guess you can go without knowing you have an arrest warrant.
If you've ever been in trouble, if you ever got a ticket, as long as you settled that, paid it, did whatever you need to do to wrap that up, then you don't have any warrants. But some people just like forget, I think.
And you can get them. My friend's brother was arrested because he had 1 billion parking tickets that he didn't pay. And so he was arrested for that.
I think once it gets to a certain amount, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't imagine. I'm so type A. I can't
How
imagine
is he
having
renewing
a parking
his
ticket and
registration with all those?
I think it was expired as well. So.
Oh, so yeah,
Series of unfortunate
that's what
events.
happens when you're just that type of person who just is completely negligent in your life. You go to jail.
Pay your
But
parking,
that sucks.
Pay your parking tickets.
Fuck Bruce Wayne.
Meredith says, "Hi Dana and Katie. First of all, love y'all. And if I had a Make-A-Wish request, it would be to hang out with you guys, Ariana and Stassi. I'm on the same level of stranger danger and fuck politeness, if you know, as Dana, so you wouldn't have anything to worry about, LOL. I was inspired to write in after listening to the morbid ladies come on your pod. I too worked at a morgue for 5 years, starting at the youthful age of 18. Damn. You name it, I probably saw it and have some crazy stories. A lot of homicides, suicides, murder-suicides, and accidental deaths. As much as I love working there, I'm with Elena. After having kids of my own, I don't know if I could disassociate my emotions from the child cases anymore. It sounds insensitive, but when you work around death every day and see horrible things people do to themselves or others, it's pretty much imperative to not become emotionally involved. Disassociation and dark humor got me through the tough times at work, and to this day have to watch who I tell a dark joke to. On the flip side, I now ensure before I leave my house every day that I appear somewhat decent just in case of plane crashes on the house, a tree falling on your car, or just simply walking outside.
Have I ever asked you what your ghost outfit would be?
No.
Like what you would want to be wearing for all your haunting days?
No, but we should talk about that on a future episode,
Okay.
like a regular. We put it on the note. And I have to make an involuntary trip back to my old job and have to show everyone the goods. Now to the story that inspired me to write in. I fully believe children have sensitivity to the spirit world. This one is about my mom's paranormal experience. When she was little, age 3 or 4, she was living in Leroy, New York, and she had a friend named Ronnie. Ronnie was a hippie and was my mom's imaginary friend, so my grandma thought. One day, my mom came home from preschool crying. When my grandmother asked my mom what was wrong, she told my grandmother that Ronnie told her he was dead. Then went on to say that Ronnie told her that he had died in a smoke shop fire. Having a 3-year-old currently myself, I can't imagine how my grandmother reacted to my mom telling her the story. My mom never said if the smoke shop incident occurred locally or whether Ronnie made this journey to hang out with my mom, but I was glad to hear that her experience with the spirit world was somewhat pleasant. I'm also glad that Ronnie was identified as a friend and hopefully died doing something he loved, smoking. A short time later, they moved into my great-grandmother's house, an old house in the mountains of Maryland where my mom always felt that there was a presence. I totally did too. In fact, both my sisters and I were seen talking, babbling in some empty closet as babes on separate occasions from our cribs. Maybe it was Ronnie. I can't help but think that Ronnie has somehow been her guardian spirit throughout the years as she encountered some near-death experiences, including a sketchy suspension bridge while hiking down the base of Mount Everest in 2015 during the biggest earthquake. That's like a double whammy for you being scared. In Nepal's history. My love for the strange and unusual is all thanks to her, and thought it would only be appropriate to incorporate her experience into my entry to the pod. Thanks for reading, and hope you guys do a podcast tour sometimes in the near future, as I would love to see you all IRL. Much love, Meredith.
Ronnie. I picture like Cheech and Chong up in smoke.
My brain went right to Ben and Jerry's. That is so crazy. Kids are just weird. My best friend Courtney from back home, when she was about 3, her mom used to smoke. Courtney had gotten up from a nap and came up to her mom and was like, Grandpa doesn't want you smoking anymore. And her grandpa had just died, or it was her grandma or grandpa, but like something that she couldn't have known. And she was like, yeah, he doesn't want you to smoke. And she's quit smoking that day. Never smoked again.
Wow.
It's crazy.
A message from beyond.
Kids are such little weirdos.
Yeah, but those were some great hometowns. Keep them coming in.
Yeah, I know. We keep forgetting to say disrespectfullypod@gmail.com, WWDDs or Heauxmetown Heroes. Write them in.
Yes. Thank you. Please and thank you.
Speaking of,
let's solve some problems.
WWDD
Let's
time.
give some excellent expert advice on all things. And also, if you have any updates to some of the questions you've asked and we've answered or whatever it may be, please send the updates because that's always fun. We love a circle back.
Yeah, we love a circle back, like our little Peggy Polly. We loved that. So keep it coming.
Yeah. The pegging saga was great. So thank you again for that. Mars says, hi, beautifuls. Y'all can call me Mars.
Good. We just did.
Love that.
So thanks for the permission.
I'm obsessed with the podcast and I have been rooting for both of you since VPR. I did stand-up comedy for a while and realized I'm not funny. So I became an emo lady for life. Rawr, JK. I was always emo. So when Emo and I showed up on the show and seeing y'all recently go to Blink and Pierce the Veil, I was jelly. I attached my pic with Vic from Warped Tour a long time ago. It's blurry, stupid X. Yeah.
A lot of men, not all men, are willfully bad at photos.
Nick is really good at it.
Because he's a good person. What's the word I'm looking for when someone weaponizes incompetence? I'm like, you push a fucking button. Why don't I look like a model, loser?
Yeah, get all the angles. Come on.
And also when people count down and take one picture, I take no less than 60 photos at one time when I'm taking a photo for someone.
Nick knows to go like this. He gets like, he moves it around.
Keep going.
I never get nervous when he takes pictures. Anyways, short confessions. 1, I haven't told anyone this, but I pegged my ex after I self-sabotaged our marriage. He wouldn't stop trying to control my weight and was so obsessed because I'd gained more weight than him. Even though I worked out 3 days a week, and when we worked out together, he couldn't keep up with me. Pegged dat out of my life. Cha-ching. I want to hear how you talk because
I know
funny.
You're saying you're not funny. You are funny. So be nice to yourself.
In my horny, corny stage, guys seemed overly obsessed with squirting and they weren't so good at pleasing anyone but themselves. So when I wanted a guy to finish and get off of me, I just pee. And honestly, they couldn't tell the difference. Bye forever. Enjoy your pee-smelling sheet.
I had a friend who used to do that in college.
First of all, why? I was talking about this the other day. There was a period of my life where anyone you encountered was obsessed with squirting. And it's some people don't do that.
Have you ever squirted?
No.
I've never squirted.
And I'm fine with that. That just seems messy and unnecessary cleanup. And there's already a level of aftercare that you need to do for cleanup. And it's just, I don't want to add changing sheets and drying off.
Yeah, we hate laundry. So no.
Anyways, okay. Now for the WWDD. How the fuck are y'all staying calm during these months with fires and all these executive orders from, what is it?
President Dump Trunk.
Okay. Interesting. I have been having so much anxiety and depression. especially since I have a little daughter. Like, damn, what's coming? We live in an apartment. Should I start planting food? Any advice? What are y'all plans going forward? Any advice? Love y'all bunches. I don't. I wish I had advice. I think everyone right now is just like, we're fucked. I saw one girl that was like, we're on a sinking ship. Like, literally put everything on your credit card, gain weight, have fun, shoplift. I don't know. It's like, that's not my advice, but it's just, it feels a lot like that. Like, I am thankful at these times I don't have children, because I would be just tenfold anxiety mess. I don't know. I mean, I have never, I can keep houseplants alive. So I don't know. I don't think growing food is too far-fetched, but also, who knows? I've never had an experience with farming. If you want to prep in any way, like, have lots of water, because if there's electricity or power loss or anything like that, like, water will go away very quickly. I don't want to survive an apocalypse.
I know, but I mean, it's hard because this is kind of a different kind of apocalypse. So I have advice.
I'm just saying there's preparedness, like water, having some food around, but like, I've never been like a prepper type, like doomsday. And that's what these times have been giving. So I'm just like, I don't know, I guess find a friend that has all that stuff.
My advice to you in this current climate is a couple things. Number one, do have important documents in order. If your passport has less than 6 months until it expires, or it is expired, get it renewed right now. Expedite that. Do it for your family as well. Like I said, just keep track. Make sure you have your important documents, have them in one place. Someone's husband was a poli-sci, a video I was watching, professor. And what he said, because we're all feeling scared right now, and people are like, should we leave, whatever. And then a lot of people are like, go where? Because you don't have the financial resources. But he said, like, the number one marker of when things are past the point of no return is when you see credible journalists being arrested. So if that ever becomes a thing, that would probably be my tipping point. I would say another thing to keep in mind is the amount of executive orders that he just went through. It's a strategy. And I can't remember, there's an actual term for it. But basically what they're trying to do right now is disorient us, because there's so much going on and you just throw up all this stuff in the air and you're trying to catch it all. So keep in mind, it is a strategy. Keep your eye on the prize. Decide what information is most valuable for you to have. Pay attention to those kinds of things. Don't get caught up in the shock value that they're trying to bring. Try your best to find credible news sources and stick to them. Because another thing they just did, the whatever the fuck her name is, the new horrible, awful fucking what is that? What does the press conferences?
Speaker of the House.
Not Speaker of the House. It's their press secretary person.
Yeah, thank you.
They're like, we have just carved out a place for all types of journalists, basically TikTokers that are right-wing freaks that are going to be bringing your news. So try and stick with credible news sources. That's what I can offer you right now.
And I think as much as you want to stay informed, I think staying educated is more important. So like, being educated isn't trying to like listen to everyone's opinions and compare and contrast them. There's someone, oh God, I should find out who exactly it was, but was sharing like really helpful books about a lot of stuff that's happening right now.
A lot of people also recommended right now, and I actually need to do this still, get a hard copy of the Constitution and all these banned books. It's good to have, like, because I have so many audiobooks and I have some of them in hard copies, but would recommend that too. And recommend noticing, checking in with yourself, because I know that some people might not be feeling this way, but we do have a lot of listeners that are aligned and do feel that way. When you are having too much of a cortisol spike and you've been leaning too much in, know when you need to take a break. There's a difference between staying informed and 24/7 being locked into this.
That's what I was going to add, is just like, I know it's important to want to stay informed so that way you're up to date, but it's like never ending right now. So I think logging off as much as possible. I mean, you're still going to hear about it. People are going to be talking about it on the street, but just making your visual diet a little bit more pleasing and just uplifting as possible. That's how you're not going to lose your mind.
Yeah, trying to stay sane for the next 4 years is definitely on the menu.
Yeah, because the last 10 days have been
horrible. Scarlett says, hello, lovelies. Cannot tell you how much I love this pod. I came from watching years of Vanderpump Rules and now refer to you as my favorite podcasters/comedians. My boyfriend tried to correct me to reality stars, but I believe you've evolved to so much more. Thank you for being iconic. Thank you for that really nice compliment.
Mm-hmm.
I was asked recently what my communion would be, like the bread and wine shit at churches. What would represent you? I thought it was such a good question, and I wanted to know what yours would be. Like, my body is ceviche and my blood is a spicy margarita. Also, a party of everyone's communions would be amazing. Anyway, that is so fun.
Is that like the new bring a
board?
A board?
Yes. Absolutely.
Communion parties instead of board parties.
Yes. Anyway, thanks for the commute sanity. Love you both. Love you, Scarlett.
What would yours be?
Okay, this is a drink that I haven't talked about on here really, but it is actually one of my favorite drinks on planet Earth. Clamato juice.
Oh,
Plain.
yeah. You've talked to me about this.
This is weird. I can't keep it in my house, much like I can't keep cookies or wine, because I will drink an entire big bottle by myself in 2 days, and it's like the sodium. And then sometimes for extra sodium, I'll pour like 3/4 part Clamato juice, 1/4 part pickle juice, and I will just drink that by itself.
Wow.
So I think that would be my blood. And then my body, I was thinking back to like my favorite foods. These are not traditional tacos. I am telling you this, but Lisa, my sister's best friend's mom, makes something called Hananan tacos. And she hand does the shells, like fries them in oil, makes them. And then it's a mixture of ground beef and mashed potato, which sounds weird at the bottom, and then American cheese. And then we all dress them up and put different like hot sauces and stuff. I am telling you, it is a death row meal for me. It would definitely be my body. I always request them when I'm home. And then like my sister at her rehearsal dinner, that's what she had. And we all like see how many, usually I can eat up to 6 because they're big. And we all like compete with who eats the most that night. So I think
Those sound delicious. You should get the recipe.
Oh, you would I should make it. They're so good.
Oh
and
my
she's
God,
a
I
saint
want
for
that.
making them. What would yours be?
God, I've thought about this and it's really hard because I know most people are like hot dogs. And I thought about that, but also like perhaps, but also, I don't know. I think maybe like some kind of Mexican food, chicken enchilada.
I feel like your blood and body could both be found at Chili's.
Chips and salsa.
Their chips and salsa, and then their Cadillac margarita, or what is that
Their,
margarita?
Presidente.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely like a marg, not a spicy marg, and some like chips and salsa and an enchilada.
Yeah.
Do you want to take my communion?
Yeah. I
want to
think
take yours minus the Clamato juice. I don't like it.
That's not going to be a popular one, but
I'll do some pickle juice,
which I also drink to the last drop. Yeah, let us know what your communions are. That is a good question. It's really funny.
I'm hungry.
I am too.
I just got my mouth watered. All right, moving along. Anonymous says, hello, looking for some advice. Would also love to remain anonymous. That's no problem.
That's
Here it
always
is.
okay.
Hi, ladies. First of all, huge thank you to you and all of the team at Disrespectfully.
Thanks, Leia. That means you too. And Allison.
Your podcast has kept me sane during some tough times over the past year. I adore you both and truly look forward to hearing what you have to say. I'm hoping you can help me with some dating advice. Last year, my ex and I of 5 years decided to part ways. It was only after the relationship ended I realized just how much of myself I lost. I've spent the past 7 months trying to find her again and finally feel ready to venture out into the dating pool. I'm not particularly keen to enter a new relationship, but want to try to have some casual fun. The problem is I've never casually dated and only ever had sex with guys I've been exclusively dating or in a relationship with. So my question is, how do I do this? He's got excited. I'm so happy for you. I've always struggled with body issues, which is a working progress, but improving. Sadly, this translates to sex and I get super self-conscious. I'm worried I get myself worked up and become too focused on how I look, sound, and even feel to actually enjoy it. I've been chatting to a cute guy who is nice and I'm pretty keen for things to get physical. Please send any advice or tips on how I can get down and dirty without the unnecessary baggage. Sex with my ex was pretty much non-existent, and your girl is frustrated. Thanks and love ya. Wow. Please have
Take
a
a
seat.
seat.
Listen, I completely understand about being in your head about body image and just like whether how things are going and looking and sounding and all that. I don't know how this is going to come across, but men don't care. They're just happy to be there.
Yeah.
True. Like you could do the most or the least. It's gonna like all excite them and be the same. So understand that like you kind of hold that power to just like give him a good time or decide how it goes. So, that being said, I think just putting it out of your head as much as possible and not overthinking and just sort of like almost like getting into like a meditative state. Like just only focus on like exactly like what is happening between you two, nothing about yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say.
Focus on like
it's
how you feel throughout the process and not how you look. Like again, he don't care.
Understand that that's your feelings projecting. That is not how he feels.
No.
And it's like, yeah, maybe you go out. I'm not saying use alcohol as a crutch, but like if you want to go out and get frisky and just meet people, it's harder to find people that you want to actually be with than people you would have sex with. Those are different categories. So it is easier to meet people that you'd bone.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. if you like this person you've been talking to, it sounds like it's working into like a dating situation. So you might be like repeating that sort of pattern of it all, which is fine, you know, but I don't know if you ever had a one night stand, but maybe recommend trying that. And it'll like, it kind of like empowers you a little bit because, you know, you just don't really plan on seeing that person again, but you're down to clown. I don't know. It's terrible advice.
No, it isn't. But I would offer one other piece of advice, which is to set expectations because look, I am a certified lover girl. I cannot have sex with randoms, not because I can't, but because it isn't good for me. I just like has to be a connection, have to be dating, whatever. Trust me, my life as a single woman would be so much easier if I could just have sex with whoever. So I think try it, but then don't put pressure on yourself. It might be a thing where you just gotta get it on with yourself until you find someone that you're actually interested in. But give it a try.
Listen, I think it's easier when there's like that person. Try to close your eyes and picture someone insanely hot that you would never want to date. That's who you need to have sex with.
Mm-hmm.
Easy as pie.
Hope this helps.
Hope it helps.
We have a special guest today.
We do.
We have Quip on set with us.
We do. Look at this.
Gorgeous.
Beauty countertop situations happening.
I just look at that and my teeth get whiter.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I love a water flosser and then go in with that electric toothbrush.
I'm not trying to blame my mom, but she did not put flossing into my routine as a child. And so that's just really rolled over in my life. But the water flosser, love it.
Yeah. No, I thought flossing was a hoax, but apparently it's not.
It's not. I just had my dentist appointment. It sure isn't. The new Quip 360 oscillating toothbrush literally revolves around you, and I'm a Leo, so everything revolves around me. So I'm thrilled.
I know. Finally, an electric toothbrush that doesn't overcomplicate the most basic daily routine.
Quip 360 is a bold, simple design that comes in multiple colors and is ultra quiet for super clean without being super annoying.
Accepted by the American Dental Association, Quip 360 is scientifically proven to remove up to 11 times more plaque between your teeth compared to a manual toothbrush and provide up to 2 times more whitening on day 1.
Day 1. And if you don't absolutely love your Quip 360, return it free 30 days.
Brush easy knowing you get free lifetime warranty for purchasing on getquipquip.com and the opportunity to subscribe to Refill Heads by mail every 3 months. So you never have to go to the store.
And I don't.
I don't either.
And I can't.
So that is convenient.
And now with Quip Perks, Quip puts their money where your clean mouth is. When you subscribe to AutoShip, you'll be enrolled in Quip Perks to earn credit back over time.
Free your mouth with Quip and discover the 25,000 5-star reviews and mouths already loving Quip.
Just for listeners of Disrespectfully, get 20% off site-wide and a free travel case and countertop stand at getquipquip.com/disrespectfully.
Free your mouth today and save 20% site-wide plus a free travel case and countertop stand at getquipquip.com/disrespectfully.
getquipquip.com/disrespectfully. Anonymous says, your pod is one of my favorites. It's a place I resort to when I need comfort during commutes, chores, walks, etc. I don't know if it's your voices, your humor, your sound advice, or all of the above, but I enjoy to listen. Thank you. Some quick context. I've been with my partner for 7 years and we just got married in June. The first 4 years of our relationship were long distance, but COVID thankfully made it possible for us to finally move in together. To preface, my husband is the best possible partner I could ask for. He's incredibly thoughtful, selfless, caring, empathetic, hot. He's the best and I love the shit out of him. His love language is acts of service, and in that capacity, he love bombs me on a daily basis. That said, my question centers around intimacy. When we met, I was the first girlfriend he ever had. He was a cute little baby lamb and was on the arc of self-glow up, losing over 100 pounds, getting LASIK eye surgery, Katie's favorite, and overall feeling more confident in his own skin. In addition to me being his first girlfriend, I was also the first person he had an ongoing physical relationship with, i.e. having sex more than just one time. A combination of some initial guidance and the long distance had our sexual chemistry off the charts during those first few years. Now that we're several years in and a bit more settled and comfortable, I recently have been struggling to get him to understand intimacy, which feels to me like a super important aspect of our enduring relationship. I've succeeded in getting him to understand why it's important. It's important to me, so it's important to him. But I don't think he knows what intimacy really looks like and how to go about incorporating it into our life more, both in and out of the bedroom. I too don't even exactly know where to turn or what to say in terms of guidance, but I know in my gut something is less than in our sex life right now. The only way I can explain it is I don't know, have some game, be sexy, which isn't very helpful. I know I can't be the only one out there who struggles with this. How do you teach your guy about intimacy? How would you guys define intimacy and what it looks like? Porn is definitely not the answer as a reference. So what else do you suggest I do to help him and me improve this aspect of our lives? I trust you guys the mostest with this qualm. Love yous and thank you for listening. Well, thank you for trusting us with that. So I think, unfortunately, we can't answer it in terms of what intimacy looks like as a blanket statement, because I think it is a person-to-person situation. So intimacy looks different for everyone. So we could say like holding hands, doing like small things with physical touch, more foreplay, post-play, aftercare.
Communication, having a really open, vulnerable conversation. Yeah.
Intimacy looks like a million different things. So I think in your case specifically, since it's hard and, dare I say, impossible to communicate to someone what intimacy looks like when you haven't decided for yourself what you prefer, what you like the best.
Well, it sounds like she's mostly framing it around like physical things.
Yeah, she said sex, but she said in and outside the bedroom. So for those things, I think that you maybe need to define it a little bit more with yourself. And I think with partners, you have to just keep an open line of communication. So explaining to them and giving examples is helpful when someone isn't really getting what you're saying. And so just telling them like, I like this. This makes me feel like we have more of a global sexual intimate relationship if you're, doing this here and whatever. And then sometimes I'd like you to come up with it on your own, but these are just examples to be helpful.
Yeah. I think being as specific as possible and using words like I need this, and not just assuming that they understand why it's important to you, but like specific examples. Like when you hold my hand, it makes me feel this way. Like it seems like you have a pretty good grasp on what his love language is, and it doesn't seem to be physical touch or anything that gears towards that. So maybe you guys are just not aligning on like what your love languages are, and so you're not effectively communicating those needs properly. So be overly obvious and abundantly clear and about those specific things that you would really like to see more of. I don't like, he's not going to be able to just like fill in the blanks when he's not even on that wavelength. I think just saying like, I really just need to fuck more, dude. Simple as that.
You're like, I like it when you spin my clit like a DJ, but you also rub my feet and clean up after yourself.
Yeah, just say like, I just feel closer to you when we're sharing physical, when we're sharing body fluids. Yeah. Just kidding. But yeah, I think just like really getting on the same page and like being really direct. I hope it works out. You're not alone, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Alyssa says, hi, Katie and Dana. Love you both and the pod so much. I look forward to spending my lunch breaks with you every week as a proud member of the Coven. I have a question related to dating and self-image that I would love your advice on. For a little background, I'm 32 years old and have several chronic medical conditions, including a long list of food, pet, environmental allergies, acid reflux, vaginismus,
yeah.
Yeah, and generalized anxiety disorder. To add a little more spice, last September, I nearly died from massive clotting in my leg and a bilateral pulmonary embolism in my lungs that I had to have 2 emergency procedures to remove. Because of this, I'm now on blood thinners that have added even more restrictions to my daily life. I've been managing my conditions as best as I can, and I'm still trying to adjust to my new normal after this very traumatizing experience. At the same time, I've been putting myself out there in the dating world for the past 3 years, despite my anxiety, kicking and screaming that it doesn't want to play that game after how badly my last relationship ended. Normal things that people do together, like drinking, going out to dinner, and hanging out with cute dogs, are very difficult or impossible for me, and it makes me feel so alienated. Even if things go well with a new guy, I'd always be waiting for the moment when all my issues became too much of a burden for him to deal with and he leaves. So here's my question. How can someone like me gain more confidence and stop feeling like damaged goods that no one will take a chance on or spend their life with? I know I'm a badass with a lot of love to give, but I'm afraid there are too many obstacles in the way that being with me just won't be worth it to anyone. Thank you so much, ladies. Kay, love you. Bye. Well, first of all, you are a badass and you've been through so much. So I think you should just be proud of yourself and be, give yourself a pat on the back for everything that like you've had to like go through. And
I know that was so hard to hear. That's so sad.
It is.
Please stop feeling that way.
Yeah. Listen, I think looking for that validation in another person that you're worth it is not really the main focus here. I think you know that you're worth it. You know you're badass. You know you have a lot of love to give. So I say like anytime any thoughts of like not being enough creep into your head, remind yourself of like how much you've overcome, and someone should be really proud and honored to be with you regardless of what kind of like limitations you have in life, because there's so much life to enjoy that doesn't involve those things. And I think it's just about always kind of maintaining that sort of frame of mind and thinking when you're going out and meeting people, that like not everyone you meet's gonna like work out for you, so it's fine. So just kind of getting practice meeting people and letting your personality and all the wonderful things that you do have to offer a person shine. Because the person who is gonna love you and see all your worth is not gonna care. They're gonna be down to do whatever you want to do and need to do, and they're gonna want to take care of you. Most importantly, I think they're gonna want to maybe help take some of the burden and stress off your back, and it won't be a burden to them. They're gonna want to help make your life easier. So I think that person is 100% out there. So just don't lose faith in that, and just keep reminding yourself that you are worth it.
Yeah, retweet everything that you said. I think that even if it feels like a lie, you need to tell yourself every day that someone is going to be out there and that you're not a burden and that they would be happy and lucky to be with you. Because when we think the same thing over and over, it's scientifically proven. We create neural pathways in our brain, and then your subconscious looks for ways to validate what you are thinking and create a reality around that.
Yeah, I'm very good at that.
I'm very good at that. So I would say everything Katie said, and lie to yourself until it becomes true about how great you are, because you are.
Absolutely.
Love you so much. Last one. Anonymous says, hi, Katie and Dana. Love, love, love you both in the pod. A few epis ago, Dana, my vulnerable queen, discussed her relationship with alcohol and how she's been working on developing a better, healthier relationship with it. I started reading the book, Quit Like a Woman, and have made some small adjustments to the way I consume alcohol, but couldn't imagine going completely cold turkey even for a few days. The fact that Dana is doing dry January is inspiring, but also feels so out of reach for me. Some context, trigger warning, sexual assault. I have complex PTSD from multiple sexual assaults, starting with being drugged and assaulted at the age of 17 by 2 different men in the same night. It was also how I lost my virginity, which is just another layer of fucked up, having gone to a convent, having a Catholic background. Last year, the man I was dating ended up assaulting me and then stalking and harassing me to the point that I had to get an order for protection. Throughout my life, alcohol and nicotine have been coping mechanisms, and marijuana has come into the picture. Last year, I was more gentle with myself about these behaviors because 2024 was a shit show. This year, I've been really starting to evaluate my substance abuse and how it no longer serves me. I guess what I'm asking is towards Dana, but also any insight from the wise Katie is appreciated. What has your journey in understanding your relationship with alcohol looked like? Has it been a long path? Did you start with baby steps, like 1 glass of wine a night instead of 2? Any advice or words of encouragement are appreciated. Love you all, Anonymous. Ugh, this absolutely crushed me when I was reading it initially. I am, as always, we're just so sorry that you have had to go through something that too many women have to go through. And I understand where you're coming from, because alcohol for me has been a crutch. And it started before my mom died. It was definitely more of just like a fun party thing. And then my senior year, when she got sick, I just completely went off the rails, and every trauma that I've experienced in adulthood, I have used that as a crutch, which in doing dry January this month, when we've just had a lot going on and things have felt stressful, that is what I've been most proud of. And I think something I'm focusing on going forward is when something bad happens, I would like to be sober for it. Like, life is always going to have ebbs and flows. And it's just something that stands out to me that I just don't want to lean on it for when I'm having a hard time. You will, if you continue reading that book, something that she will point out is the fact that if you're looking at, your relationship with alcohol like that, like maybe just start with 1 glass and you're kind of bargaining. It's when it's maybe a beige flag or red flag, depending on how you look at it, for, maybe needing not to drink. I think that it was, for me, something that I also didn't think was possible, which was scary for me of looking at dry January. But what I did notice, I think I was talking about in the last episode, was it was just easier than I thought it was going to be. Honestly, after day 3, I was craving wine for a few days because I just had been in the groove of it. But then once I did it, it just was eye-opening for me how much easier than I thought it was going to be. I would say for you, 30 days is a long time when you've been drinking consistently. I would say start with a goal. If 30 days seems impossible for you, why don't you start with 1 week and see how it goes?
Yeah, 1 day at a time.
The whole thing is about 1 day at a time. And it might be something that perhaps you will benefit exponentially from down the line of being sober. But I would say start with smaller goals. But if you can make a 30-day goal, I feel so differently about drinking now that I've done this. Try for 30 days, start smaller. And then also when you're thinking about the things that you're scared about giving up when it comes to drinking, there are so many benefits and so many more reasons not to drink. So try to think about that a little bit, which is also what I was doing. And like, take it, if you look at the rest of your life, it is going to feel really scary. Take it one day at a time.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of like figure out what the goals are too. If you want to eliminate it entirely, then take, like give yourself grace as, baby steps or one day at a time or a week at a time. So it doesn't feel like this overwhelming void in your life, Is it that you just want to feel more clear headed, but you don't want to eliminate it in your life? Like, well, maybe you just like take a look at the things that you are drinking. And I don't want to like be picking and choosy, but like I think just thinking about it as realistic as possible when it comes to these kind of things. I know there's times where I've had to like check in with my relationship with, of course, throughout the years. I think that's smart to do. Initially, I remember it was wrecking my relationships because I was drinking too much at a time. So I was just like, well, what happens for me to get to those points? Not eating enough, not taking shots. Like that's why like I will almost never ever do a shot because it'll just send me over the edge. So just like having like a couple drinks to sip on during the night. I'm not saying that this is the route to take. I'm just saying like there was times when I checked in, like my issue was that I was a bad drunk. So I just couldn't allow myself to get drunk. And then I don't know, I think you just go from there, or just like saying I don't want to drink this type of alcohol because it just has a worse effect. I think some alcohol it's all terrible for you, right?
Yeah.
There's some that are, I think, have a really terrible effect on people more so than others, like.
Well, I think point blank period. Oh, wait, there was a PS on this. PS, I have a therapist who specializes in substance abuse, so I know I'm being supported, but I value y'all's thoughts and opinions. Okay, love that. I was also going to say that. It's been a big through line for therapy for me for the last year or two, and I've talked a lot to my therapist about it. So I'm thrilled that you are leaning on that. Another thing, I've definitely never said this publicly, but I went to a few AA meetings last year, and just because I was curious and, when I've been going through this whole thing, it wasn't for me. And actually that book talks a lot about it, how AA is very much foundationally built around the patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are curious, you can go to an AA meeting. You don't have to tell anyone. You don't have to speak. You can just listen. And I do think that it was kind of helpful for me in terms of like where it put me at my line. I'm saying it's different for everyone, but all I have to say at the end of the day is you have to decide what's right for you. Some people do need to totally abstain. I get that, but there are more resources now than ever, specifically about alcohol. So continue to do some research. Reddit is a resource. You can kind of talk with other like-minded people and go from there. But they say it's corny, but the first step is admitting you have a problem and kind of seeing where you're at. So I'm really proud of you for acknowledging it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we love you so much.
But go easy on yourself, honestly. You're not like a terrible person because, I think people can take it too far often. I don't know.
Alcohol is indoctrinated into our culture, by the way.
Yeah.
It just is. So like, don't ever feel bad for struggling with an addictive poison that we've been brainwashed to think is normal from day one, act one, scene one. I'd say that's our Friday episode. So be careful on the boat.
I will.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like, disrespectfully.